5 years old. We want to assure you that we will fight. We have carried the bait, and we want to assure all veterans in this platform and watching everywhere that we will never take our interests and put them above the organizations. We are here, we will fight for all that you fought for. We'll fight for the foundational roles that you put. We are here, we are standing on your shoulders. And we want to also thank the ANC Women's League for having taken this responsibility. And we will continue to, I want to also acknowledge and remind Mama Shope that today, unfortunately, women not only have to represent women and fight for the liberation of women, not only within the organization and out there, but we still have to fight for everything. So we will never get tired. I wanted to emphasize that we'll never get tired. Mama, you are a giant. We thank you. We love you. We thank your family. We will respect this organization. We will respect the path we have to take. We are acknowledging that we are the chosen ones. We agree that we will lead our generations, and we will do that with pride. Happy birthday, Mama. Thank you for this platform.
Okay, before the presentations from provinces, let's allow the former organizer, national organizer, who became the president of the Women's League, but also the SG of the Women's League, to just warm up the stage for provinces and the SG Gama Shope, the two. Then from there, it's going to be provinces. Comrade Nosiviu.
Revolutionary greetings, comrades. Today we are celebrating a birthday of Mama Get.
One longo.
Oh, Ngazungan.
Thank you very much. Hey, comrade. Thank you very much, President Batabile. Thank you, Mama Getty. Thank you, Sitwalandwe. Thank you, Mamu Sophie. I want to thank you, DSG, for being here on behalf of the African National Congress, an organization Mama Getty has served so well. Thank you to all the leaders of the Alliance. And I also want to recognize our ambassadors, who again are women who are here on this platform. I saw Comrade Tenji and I saw Sis Bridget, and I was really touched by that. Comrade President of the Women's League and the National Executive of the Women's League, Siyabulela, Siyabonga. And we also saw Sis Jackie, and she spoke. Thank you, Sis Jackie. A veteran of MK, a veteran of the African National Congress. Siyabonga ngoba ni organize le birthday celebration ka mama. Meketi simbiza umama, umme, Mashope. Meketi, I want to start by thanking you for bringing all of us who are here on this platform up and make us who we are today. Yes, we may be faltering. Yes, we may be committing a lot of mistakes along the way, but I want to thank you. I'll thank you particularly myself that you took it upon yourself at a time when very young girls were coming out of the country in the mid-80s. You took it up the challenge and sent me as a woman who was mature enough at least to look after those young girls in Angola. Thank you, Mekit. You taught us leadership. You taught us accountability. And Comrade Tenji said, people ridicule you for calling yourself a mother, but really motherhood, and how we would be able to balance up your motherhood role and your functions or responsibilities within the movement. Meketi, allow me to tell South Africans that it is you, after the unbanning of the ANC, And after the Grooteskier minute, when the leaders came back from South Africa to come and give a report, Lusaka, it's you, Meketi, who attended a meeting of the National Executive Committee and volunteered women from the ANC women's section to come back and resuscitate, revive, and build the structures of the African National Congress at a time when people were still saying, hey, yeah, hey, abastrepi nalabantu, nalabantu. What are we going to do? You took it upon yourself and said, the women of the African National Congress are ready to go back home and start reviving the structures of our movement. And that history is history which must be written, make it, so that our children and our grandchildren should know why women from the women's section were the first one to come into the country and revive the structure together with the women of the Mass Democratic Movement here, led by Mama Sisulu, that it is you who led that group. Megeti, I also must say this, following after what Comrade Ayanda mentioned, how you intervened when there was a mutiny in Angola. Megeti, I want to remind people, you were not just a soldier in uniform carrying that pistol. You practically, and I do want to remind you of an incident coming from the northern part of Angola, where one of our chaps, when we had stopped a convoy, was hit by a landmine and lost a limb. Your reaction when everybody was very angry and wanted to go and hunt and look for the rebels, because we all thought they must have been around, you said, this is not the time. This is not the time. You continue with the journey and we go back to Luanda. That's you, make it. I also do want for the younger generation to know that Umeket is one person. Whenever the African National Congress or even the Mass Democratic Movement in the country had an event, an occasion, an opportunity to come together, Meketi would seize that opportunity and make sure that from home here, women would be part of that delegation so that there can be consultation with women who were out, were doing the underground work. Now, Umeketi, when the Harare, I recall the Harare Children's Conference was held, Umeketi made sure and pressurized people from internal here. In your delegation, you must bring women from the Mass Democratic Movement. In that way, she wanted to make sure that she would have an opportunity together with women who were there, the Manjobes, the Ray Alexanders, who were there, to give the women a fresh mandate internally here about what they should be doing. Hence, comrade, you had very strong women's movement. If you talk about Mass Democratic Movement in this country, in fact, the backbone of the Mass Democratic Movement was the comrades like Abo Comrade Jesse. It's comrades like Abo Zoukota before she left the country. It's comrades like Abo Noma India, Abo Hilda Ndute, Abo Nozizwe Madlala. Those were the comrades. They were the backbone of the Mass Democratic Movement because they were led by Masisulu. Masisulu, who never for once lost contact with the women who were leading the ANC from outside. I also, just without taking time, Bata, please allow me, my president, to also set the record straight sometimes about our history, because it's not written. When the ANC was unbanned in 1990, in the of weaknesses, amongst other things which had happened at the time, is that the Mass Democratic Movement had suspended Umama Uwini Unomzamo Mandela. Comrades, I want you to know that when that decision was taken by the National Executive Committee to come back into South Africa in 1990 to revive the structures, it is Meketi and that leadership who said, we will interact with the women in the country and we will fight to make sure that Mama Nomzama is brought back into the structures of the African National Congress. African National Congress has been unbanned. It's important for us. We cannot have an African National Congress which does not have Umama Uwini at the center, because she is one of those people who symbolized the revolution of the people of South Africa. These are some of the things which must be written, put on paper, because our children don't know. Make it is your leadership which made people to come back and finally put Umama Uwini back into the structures like all other women at the time were working in this country. The last matter I want to say to you, comrades, is this. When the repatriation of our soldiers from Angola to Uganda, the first group who left were ferried in an aircraft which was piloted by Russians. It was a Russian aircraft. I was with Umekete. I was supposed to leave with Umekete because we had been in a meeting the previous day where OR was giving directives to all the people in Angola that you will now leave, where he said, I order you to leave and go to Tanzania and Uganda. Mekete decided to be part of that team. And I thought, and we had agreed that I was going to join her. In the morning, Mekete said, no. There are women who are remaining behind here. You stay here. And guess what happened on that aircraft? An agent provocateur, one amongst us in the African National Congress, tried to divert that aircraft to South Africa, believing that they would land in South Africa and that everybody, of course, who would have been on that aircraft would have been arrested. Mekete was in that aircraft with those soldiers. Now, these are some of the stories which are not written, but I want to say to you, Mekete, as I end these notes, you know, Mekete, last year you recall that during the month of August, we had a meeting at DERCO where there was a validation on the implementation of framework on women, peace and security, the agenda for South African women. I want to make you happy, Mekete, by informing you, if you don't know about this, that last week Cabinet took a decision to adopt the National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security. Not only that, we believe that as South African women and as a government of the Republic of South Africa, we can launch this before our end of tenure as non-permanent members with UN Security Council. We believe we will be able to launch this. Mekete, this is what you stood for. You believed in starting into and drive it and take it to its logical conclusion. So we believe, Mekete, the launch of this National Action Plan will see us further advancing the cause of women's emancipation. You fought very hard, Mekete, against gender-based violence. From the camps, you fought against abuse of young girls. Mekete, last week, Cabinet passed 3 important bills which are related to gender-based violence, which are going to be dealing viciously so with issues of gender-based violence. These are the things you advocated for. These are things you have taught us, and Mekete, we hope that even though sometimes we let you down, that you don't give up on us. Keep on giving us the support, just to know that you are there, even if we are not in touch with you on a daily basis, but just to know that you are there. That's just to know that the Masofi is there. That just to know that Sis Jackie is somewhere in a corner there is what propels us, is what motivates us. Now we see there's hashtag FUCKANC, Mekete. You've taught us to defend the people of South Africa, and therefore to defend the organization we belong to defend the African National Congress. We will continue to defend the aspirations of the people of South Africa, led by the African National Congress. We will not allow people who today are able to stand up and say FUCK, African National Congress, because it is a movement of Ntati Nkwadimeng. It is a movement of Tatu Mlangeni. It is a movement of Tatu Sisulu, a movement of Madiba, a movement of Mamposho. And therefore, we will not allow people, when we have challenges in our movement, to say, instead of dealing with the challenges we have, to say FUCK, African National Congress. You are the one who taught many of us that when one of us is in trouble, we must all stand up and unite and fight and defend that comrade. By the way, that is how the fight for the release of Thandi Modise, amongst others, came about. Meketi, it is you who taught us that you can have differences. You can have disagreements, but what brings you together is the liberation of the people of South Africa, and it is the work of the African National Congress. Siyabonga Meketi, siyabonga President Batabile. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Nosiviwe. I'm told the SG of the ANC is here. Will you please greet SG?
Yes, Comrade President.
Please greet Shope and wish a happy birthday. And women have been calling on the ANC to hold this celebration. And therefore, the DSG has been here since the beginning. So you must also know that we are giving you, SG, a mandate. SG? SG?
It's in Paris.
Yeah, okay. Let's give Sis Malega in the meantime. And then Eastern Cape, get ready.
Thank you very much, Comrade President. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Sis Malega.
Ngiyaxolisa bengazi ukuthi ngizocelwa ngikhulume, so I'm not looking appropriate. Kodwa ke ngiyalibonga leli thuba, Comrade President, and all the leaders who are here today to honor a very special woman, uMamuketi. I wish to associate myself with earlier protocols, acknowledging and thanking in particular our sisters from different countries, Mamu Gertrude Mongela, also all the colleagues from PAO and fraternal organizations. My comrades, I think today's program was very rich in how